Hi, and welcome to the S.H.E Gallery Show. My name is Diane Pasola, and I will be your host today. And we have a great show for you today. Just keep in mind that S.H.E Gallery, you could find links to all of our guests at sharinghisenergy.net. You could also email us at sharinghisenergygallery@gmail.com, and our phone number is listed below. So today we wanted to talk about some of the violence that has been going on in Chicago. Specifically, some of the things that our President Trump has been covering. A lot of the media in terms of 2017, just 2017 reports for January, the murder rate has gone up tremendously compared to the previous year. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about that before we introduce our first guest. You know, hearing Chicago in this light has been very disturbing, you know, coming from the city, living in the city, hearing the way he has talked about our city in terms of carnage and, you know, a battleground, I think is actually really insulting, you know, living here and having friends from here, you know, people who've lived through it and we're living in it every day. And this is an amazing city. But is there violence? Yes, there is. So that's the focus of today's show, are people who've dealt with violence and who have overcame the violence in the city, specifically on Chicago's south and southwest sides. So today we have two special guests. We have Nicholas Diaz, who's currently working for S.H.E Gallery, and then we have another guest, Andres de Hesa, who is a teen who will be joining us today as well a little later on in our show. So I'm going to go ahead and start with Nicholas, which is a longtime friend as well. But I really just wanted Nicholas to share his story. It's one of those of success, as many people in Chicago have. Just his story of, you know, some of the struggles that happened early on in his life and how he's overcame those struggles. So, Nick, you could go ahead and take it away.
Thank you.
You want to talk about a little bit about like where you grew up and you know how that neighborhood was. I believe you guys, you know, you first grew up in Little Village.
Yeah.
So what was that experience like for you?
We lived in Little Village when we first came to the U.S. It was hard for me and for us because we didn't know the language.
How old were you when you guys came to Chicago?
I was 8.
Okay.
And my older sister was 9. And my younger brother Caesar was 7 or 6. And Dulce was like 4, I think. So my dad, we went to school in Pilsen, and my dad would drive us from school.
From home to school?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
was that because of like the neighborhood?
No.
Specifically? Okay.
No. And I saw all this gang graffiti on the walls, and that's how I first started noticing the
It's okay. Like the problems in the neighborhood,
Yeah.
or okay.
But my
And how old were you around this time? You were around 9 at this time?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But we moved to Gage Park,
Okay.
and then that's when I got shot in Little Village. I was 18.
You skipped a lot. You
Oh,
skipped a
yeah.
lot. It's okay. You skipped a lot of stuff there, Nick. So you guys moved. You got shot when you guys were still living in Little Village.
Yes. No.
This is when you moved to Gage Park already.
Yeah.
Okay. And what were the circumstances kind of surrounding your, your shooting? Mm-hmm.
Oh. Uh,
I just want to remind the audience that you could call in at any time too at 312-738-1060. And I would also like to remind the audience that our guest Nicholas Diaz was a shooting victim. So, bear with us and keep in mind, and this is still a really hard story for him to tell. So, we hope that you're able to call in with questions. Do you want to share your this now, or as you're
Yeah.
telling the story? Okay. Okay, so I'm going to direct the audience to Nick's story. And is it up there? Okay. Sorry, there you
Yeah.
go. Okay.
this piece I did when I was in school. I was at the Illinois Institute of Art.
Okay.
It talks about my story, and the story is that I was shot. God.
It's okay, Nick. We're here with you. Yeah, so let's talk about some of the incident that, surrounded the shooting. Were you in a gang at the time?
Yes.
Okay, so you were an active gang member at the time. I'm just going to go back to us. Okay. Okay, so why don't you keep telling us then what happened? Mm-hmm.
No.
You want to shift through some of the pictures?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so this looks like a picture of you, Nick, with your sister.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was after the shooting, and where were you shot?
In the head, and in my lung.
Okay, so you were shot so you had two bullet wounds?
Yes.
Okay, one in the head and one in the lungs. And the doctors, were they surprised that you had survived?
Yes.
Okay.
My doctor said if I would survive, I would either be in a vegetable or mentally retarded.
So it's a miracle right now that you're even sitting here talking to us.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go to this one. So this is your family as well?
Yes. That's my brother Caesar, Dulce, and I.
Okay, and how long were you at the hospital for?
I was there for like 3 months.
Okay, wow, that's a long time.
Yeah.
And it was really hard on your family getting out of this this trauma. How was it for your family?
Yes. It was hard because
I mean, I imagine they were going through a lot. You had almost passed, and then in your recovery, I mean, were you able to talk to them right away?
no, I had to learn how to do everything like I was a baby.
Oh, Nick. And so you created this. You created this piece for when you said you were working. I'm sorry, you were going to school at the Art Institute.
Yeah.
At the
Oh,
Illinois
Illinois
Institute.
Institute of Art.
Okay, Illinois Institute of Art. Do you want to just tell us really quickly about this piece and your art? And just like your experiences going to school. So you had this shooting, and how were you able to recover and overcome and and move on and
Yeah.
get your life back?
Uh, uh, oh God.
It's okay. We're here with you. So I know your sister Dulce, who is, the founder of S.H.E Gallery.
Yes.
You're working with her currently right now for S.H.E Gallery?
Yes.
Okay, and then what do you do for S.H.E Gallery?
I designed all of them, all of the flyers, work on the website, and all the like the posters and the oh God.
It's okay, like, so a lot of like the web design
Yeah.
stuff? Okay. And then are you currently still working on like your own art pieces? Because I saw Nick had a couple of great pieces
Yes.
at the S.H.E Gallery
Yes.
show, so you're doing
Yeah.
your own art?
Yes.
And what sort of mediums do you use for that?
A lot of spray paint.
Very cool. Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you use oil or anything else like that?
No, I hardly. The only thing I use spray paint and pastels.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Nick was able to, and thank you so much, Nick, and I know it's really hard and it's, kind of nerve-wracking being up here, but Nick was able to share his experiences in terms of, what happened and how he's kind of moved on from that. Nick did go to the Illinois Institute of Art as well as Westwood College?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
So,
graduated.
yeah, and so
from
he
there.
graduated, so congratulations for that. And now he is successfully helping his sister run S.H.E Gallery. So, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. If anybody has any questions or would like to get in contact with Nick, again, please visit our website at sharinghisenergy.net. And you could also visit us, or you could also send us an email at sharinghisenergygallery@gmail.com. Our next guest today is going to be Andres. And Andres, just focusing a little bit more on, hi, thank you, focusing a little bit more on, some of the violence in Chicago and being a teen in Chicago. As a high school teacher, on the southwest side, a lot of my students and people from the community are constantly facing like these struggles and challenges of, how do I go to school and how do I succeed, despite what's happening in my neighborhood. And I'm sure, just like Nick is an example, myself and a lot of the people we know, but we're all kind of grown up. So we have a current teen with us, Andres de Hesa. Thank you for joining us. And Andres is just going to share a little bit with us about his story and, being current 18-year-old, right? How he is, moving forward despite some of the challenges that a lot of us have faced on Chicago Southwest side. So, Andres, go ahead, take it away.
Basically, I was born here in Chicago, and then I grew up in the Midway area. So back then, of course, it was a pretty good area. I didn't really know much about the whole violence because everything around me since being a kid was good.
Mm-hmm.
Plus,
It was like a predominantly Polish neighborhood at the
Yes.
time. Yeah, I grew up around Midway too. Mm-hmm.
yeah, like I had like very little of Hispanic friends.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, until it was till later where my grandpa got into a car accident which caused him to be paralyzed. That caused us to move down into Texas.
Okay.
And
What part of
then
Texas were you
It was
at?
in Fort Worth, like
Okay.
by Dallas area.
Okay.
And then, so from there, I guess growing up, I started realizing more and more little things that were going wrong in my life. Like everything that I thought of when I was a child. When you're a kid, you think of everything as a happy world.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to witness violence and drugs abuse and gaming. It was a lot of just violence things.
What
And-
was your neighborhood like at Fort Worth? And how
At
old were
Fort
you
Worth?
around this time?
It was actually a pretty good neighborhood. It was very open.
Okay.
Like they had the acres of the houses, so like your neighbor's house would be
Oh, okay. So
kilometers
more
away.
like rural as opposed to
Yes.
urban. Okay.
And then, but like around, of course, there would be like the trailer park area where a lot of drug addicts will be at.
That's unfortunate.
I never really went down an area, but I always passed by it.
You knew it existed,
I know
as
it
most of
existed.
us do. Uh-huh.
So then, but yeah, pretty much. And then I lived in Texas during my elementary years.
Okay.
So I'll probably be like 10 years old, I believe, or
Okay.
even earlier. And then in 2012 is when we moved back into Chicago, and I was 14 or 13 at the time. And the way my life changed, I guess it affected me a lot.
What neighborhood did you move into when you moved back to Chicago?
When I'm in the Gage Park area.
Okay.
So from there, I was still a young kid. I didn't really know much about the whole gang violence and just the whole violent scenery in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So throughout that time, growing up, I was seeing on the news more and more. It's like teenage kids are getting shot, and I'm just like, what's going on? Why are these kids getting shot? And so and then seeing, from me going out, like watching the whole neighborhood, seeing how much has really changed to graffiti and even witnessing gang members on the corners. So
Did you ever try to get recruited or anything?
not really.
Okay, that's good. Mm-hmm.
So I knew the whole how you say it, the way to get into a gang where you need to be beat up by the own gang members to be initiated. But seeing what my mom was going through, I never wanted that, because yes, some of my family members were involved with gangs. I didn't want to be that child. I didn't want mom to have more problems with her youngest child. So I pushed away from that, and I knew I wanted to go to school. I knew I wanted to graduate. So, but even though I was away from, I wasn't a part of the gang, doesn't mean the gang wouldn't follow me as well.
Yeah.
So even though on my way to school, I will still have to watch my back of whether being caught in a drive-by or being caught, in between two rival gangs. And so it was still a struggle growing up in that.
Yeah, I think that's what sometimes people forget is that, and even with my students, it's really easy to be an outsider and say, I don't understand. I don't understand the gangs. I don't understand why students are just, why you can't just avoid them. And they often remind me, Miss, it's in our neighborhoods. It's every day when we come home. It's this constant reminder. So I applaud you for, despite all that, still wanting to move on. I know that you had some struggles and maybe during your senior year where you had to go to a residential facility.
Yes.
Park Grove. Mm-hmm.
So I went to it was in 2015, late in the year in December, that I started witnessing these shadow figures, that I started to believe that I was possessed, like the devil was targeting me, that he wanted me for a reason, because I believe that a lot of people who are into the music industry, a lot of them will go for the devil to help them get more publicity, help them make them famous, get the money. And I already knew all of that. So then, of course, I always wanted to steer away from that as well. But to the point where I was dealing with so much stress between school, my life, all that just piled up on me to the point where I didn't care anymore. So me focusing on my music, of course I want to be famous. I was like, but it's not going anywhere.
Wait, you jumped a little bit. So how did you get? It's okay. How did you get into music? And was this,
So it was back in 2012 when, of course, me going through that dramatic change of living good to a little less. I started to write my feelings out into a journal, because I was never the type of kid to just blow up on anyone or blow up on my mom. Instead, I wrote inside a journal about my feelings, and from watching Eminem, what he had to go through, I decided, okay, maybe I could write a song as well, just letting go of all my feelings. And from there, yeah, I guess that's where it really started.
Good, finding a creative outlet, right? When you have all of these challenges in your life, and finding those things, whether it's exercise or any form of artistry, and in your case, music. Do you want to share one of your songs with us, maybe?
Yes, this is one when I was really I was in the dark path, you could say. and that like all my music dramatically changed from being more inspirational to just what you hear on the radio today. So this one is called Underground.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, oops, sorry, wrong one.
It's okay.
I'm not sure if you could hear the music.
Yeah, we should be able to hear.
How can you define a definition when you're mad at the world, and whenever that you're struggling in life because of a girl, or you go straight underground and they all wonder now you done left all humanity. Whatever my insanity is gone from my reality. There are wonders now, I ain't down cause the way they tested me is just a blasphemy. Let me take a rest, all these problems on my chest, I ain't human, don't you get it? You betray me as the best, and yes, I once loved it, now I say, in your life, all your problems I put above it. Man, I need my own space, wish I had my own place, cause it seems I'm just surrounded by people, they're in my face, they don't see none of my pain, that's been ruckus of the game. So pardon me if I'm showing signs that I'm insane. The problems in my brain is hard for you to contain. I can't even choose past, I'm nearsighted, one name defines all of what I am about. I'd be glad to hear whenever it shouts out, all reckless, my wrist piece, praise the Lord. He told me there's a cost for heaven I can't afford. The leader I once adored has betrayed me once more. So what it needing for the people that feel my pain, relating to my strain. So hold on to the world with a grip in our veins. And although they did try to kill me, I just stood up and walked off. What is even stopping me from blowing my block off? Maybe it's the love for the people of my addiction. It also plays the girl from my head. Who am I kidding? I told her that I'll be here for whenever she may need me. Gotta hide the tears cause I just can't let her see me. Even though the distance between us is so far, I signed a peace treaty with her. No more wars. That's a little.
That was awesome. Okay, two
Sorry.
things. I didn't like the background music originally because I know that song, but you
yeah.
made it so much cooler. And that was really good. I have to admit, I hadn't heard any of this prior to today, but that was really, really good.
Credit
And,
to Linkin Park. So,
yeah, I don't like Linkin Park, but that was great. Sorry, Linkin Park. And so we're kind of just wrapping up our show. I do want to thank, our guest, Nicholas Diaz. Again, it's a little late to call in, but if you wanted to call in, our number's right down at the bottom. Remember, you could get in contact with Nicholas Diaz as well as Andres through S.H.E Gallery's website. So that's sharing his energy. Gallery.net, as well as emailing us, and that is our phone number. And I think we're going to end up with Andres is going to do one more song, a little bit more on a positive note, even though that last one was pretty awesome. So you could take it away, Andres.
Okay. I'm sorry.
These cell phones. Okay.
I'm very sorry.
Playlist on this playlist.
Playlist.
Okay, there we go. Is it volumes up all the way?
This song is called Closer to My Dreams.
And thank you everyone for joining us today.
A lot of things been weighing down in my mind. I'm hoping that I have time to put it down in a rhyme. Yes, I am the voice of the quiet ones, the peace for the violent ones. You could tell me any negative thing that you can wander up. I don't sit down for the nonsense, so I'm standing up. You talking total bull talk, but when I hop up on the mic, clamor say how easily I could back it up. Enough of the witty stuff. Let's get to talking about the gritty stuff. Teenage kids getting shot, and I'm wondering why. Cause deep inside of the statistics, a child had died. If it was yours, how would you react to that? Would you be mad at your kid saying he was gonna clap him back? Or is it peace that you seek like when I rap on tracks? Or is the enemy meet you hit him back to back? No, I need a better feeling. I smoke to get rid of the pain, but need a better reason. My friends think I'm lying cause I'm stopping. I ain't saying I live rougher than them, but they don't see it. I don't really talk in person like how I rap. I put it down in the pad, I hope I never look back. I wanna laugh and live good, give money to my mom, go to tour, meet, smack, smoke. No, stop, man. Pain always comes when you never need it, but accepting it is always trying to be it. Cause you learn from the mistakes but don't repeat it, cause the pain doesn't leave if you're always trying to keep it. Nah, spread love cause hate is a disease. It'll kill you faster and do it with ease. You feel alone, don't worry cause history reads that when Adam was alone, God gave him Eve. God give me peace, I'm still walking through the dark, not choice, cause I didn't really know where to start. Look my heart like how can I reverse this process? Ignorance is given, don't bother to stop it, nah. Open up your eyes to the truth. Watch what you say, it's in the minds of the youth. They look up to us thinking we are gods. Meanwhile, we look at them wishing we was y'all. Please take me back to the better days. God, show me better ways, cause I'm just trying to get it, live right, cause I'm tired of being broke, so fed up with the bull, I started to choke. No CPR when your neighbor is dying. We don't trust anybody, we think everybody is lying. No napkins for anyone crying. How we gonna make a change if nobody is trying? From this.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us today. We will see you next week at the S.H.E Gallery Show.